January gives you tricky waxing conditions? Hi! Welcome to another episode of GRPTV. I'm Michaela. And this is another episode of Waxing Basics. This time, we're going to teach you how to klister your skis, both what it is and how to use it.
Klister is a form of kick waxing your classic skis for when the conditions are less than ideal. In a previous GRPTV episode, we went over how to hard kick wax your skis. However, as soon as the snow starts turning icy, coarse, or abrasive, that's when Klister comes in. We know that learning how to use Klister can be intimidating, especially if you're still learning the basics of cross-country ski waxing. However, when the conditions lend themselves to Klister, it can be really fun because it helps you to have bomber kick out there. Another alternative is skin skis, which help to have pretty good kick when the snow's slushy out there. However, when it's icy, Klister really is the way to go, helping you to have the best kick that you could possibly have.
It may be difficult to tell when to use Klister, but there are some specific conditions where Klister is much better than hard wax. These include icy and abrasive snow conditions. Often man-made snow falls into this category. Wet corn or dry corn, so when the snow is melting and refreezing a lot, or just melting and not really refreezing. It can also be described as sugary snow, where it doesn't really stick together and is kind of a thin texture.
While hard kick wax comes in these round tubes, Klister is stickier and comes in these toothpaste-like tubes. It comes in, like hard wax, a lot of different temperature ranges and snow conditions. There are some universal Klisters that tend to work well in a lot of conditions, so we'd recommend getting one or two of these to start out for your Klister needs.
Klister should be applied to the same area of the skis as hard wax, taking off an inch or so on either end. To begin the application process, the tube may need to be warmed up if you are outside in the elements or in a cold garage. If this is the case for you, heat up the tube with a propane torch, heat gun, or even a heater or car vent if you're in a pinch. To apply the Klister to your kick zone, squeeze the back of your tube very lightly until a small bead appears, and use light pressure to form little chevrons or a V-shaped pattern along each side of the ski's groove. It's okay if the tube is making contact with your ski. In fact, this will actually help you to have a more even thin application. Another option is to form an S-shaped squiggle pattern. Either method will ensure that the Klister will be evenly and thinly distributed throughout the kick zone of the base. Again, don't squeeze too hard, or you'll have large globs that will be very difficult to smooth into the ski. Be sure to put on the cap when you are finished with this step to prevent oozing. After applying Klister, spread it using your thumb or the palm of your hand. If you've made a few passes, trying to smooth over the Klister with your thumb and are struggling to get an even distribution, try lightly heating up the Klister on the base of your ski before attempting to rub in the Klister further. This can be done with an old waxing iron, a blowtorch, or a heat gun. Be sure to use sparing heat as to avoid burning the base of your ski. If you want to use the same waxing iron you use for glide waxing, make sure to thoroughly clean it after to avoid any Klister in your glide zone later. Once the Klister is reheated, try smoothing it again and repeat if necessary. After the Klister is evenly distributed across your kick zone and looks smooth, set your skis aside to cool. Placing them face down on the groomed ski trail can help speed up the process. After a few minutes, you're all set to begin skiing.
Be sure to keep your skis moving because Klister skis are prone to icing up a little more than normal hard wax skis would.
If you've used your thumb or the rest of your hand is all full of Klister once you're done applying, just put on your gloves and the Klister will rub off very quickly. It's not as gross as it sounds. The removal process of Klister is very similar to the removal of kick wax process. You'll need your paper towels, kick wax remover, and an old scraper. To begin, you will do the same process of scraping off as much Klister as you can before adding any wax remover. On or rub on kick wax remover. Then take some paper towel and wipe off the Klister. You might have to scrub here a little bit if necessary. Repeat the wax remover application process as well if necessary. Since Klister is a little more liquidy than hard wax, it often runs onto the sidewall of your ski. So take your paper towel with some wax remover on it and rub it along the sidewall of your ski to remove any excess Klister.
When the conditions are less than ideal, rather than opting out of classic skiing and going for a skate ski,
try Klister skiing today
to see if it's right for you.
Comment down below with any Klister skiing questions or any other topics around skiing that you would like to see in a future GRPTV episode.
Like and subscribe to see future GRPTV episodes. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye. Happy trails.
If you're just learning the basics of cross-country ski waxing. What are you doing?
I can see your bloody nose.
No.